Hello, and welcome to our sixth video presentation for Politics of Southeast Europe. Our topic for this week is political parties and politics in the period after 2000. What I want to do is to try to establish a kind of background, talk about transitions to democracy as they're called, highlight some problems with them, and suggest some alternatives. The big question that we're faced with in dealing with this topic, if we want to put it this way, is why did not every state establish stable democratic regimes and consolidate them at the end of the communist period, or if you prefer, after the end of the violent conflicts of the 1990s? You could say that it's a little bit of an unfair question. You could say that it's a little bit of a tendentious question. It implies a conclusion that is not necessarily justified. There's a subsidiary question to that, of course, which is that we're not only asking about the past, we're asking about the present. So why is it that democratic consolidation appears to be still uncertain, or if not certain, possibly even a goal that has been missed? Let me offer a note, however, that in talking about all of the topics that fall under this general area, we're always talking about something called transition, and transition is a word that's repeated every time we talk about the political present of the states in the region. I would suggest approaching terms like transition with a bit of reservation, with a little bit of suspicion. It's a word that says a lot while offering a small quantity of information, and it has some implications that might be inconsistent with the processes that we're able to observe empirically. First of all, what is a transition? It implies that there is a beginning state that is known, and also that there is an end state that is known. And this also implies then that a transition will have a beginning and will have an end. That doesn't appear to be what happens. In fact, probably the most sensitive question is that transition appears not to have an end, and there have been analysts speaking in the region in a fatalistic sense about something that they call a permanent transition. Is there a permanent transition? And if so, what does this mean? Let me offer you an outline of how we're going to approach this topic in our presentation. The first segment we're doing now, where we're posing the question, why has transition not gone as expected? In the next segment, I'll be talking about democracy, about some of the assumptions that go along with democracy and ways in which the idea of democracy comes into conflict with situations on the ground. In the third section, we'll talk about path dependencies, particularly about ways in which the character of the previous regime and the nature of the change from the previous regime to the one that followed it can influence the development of situations. In the fourth section, we will speak relatively briefly about interstate relations, about how relations between states within the region and between states in the region and powerful states in the world influence the speed and character and direction of political change. And finally, in the fifth section, I want to present some alternative points of view and to suggest that maybe what we're seeing is not in fact a transition, as we like to state in a sort of shorthand, but maybe something else, maybe the establishment of a different kind of state that is neither the previously existing one nor the new one that is postulated in a sort of ideological way. So let's begin in the next section by talking about democracy and some of the problems of democracy.